Good evening. You're watching Wednesday's edition of Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime with me, Wadzanai Sansole. These are your headlines tonight. Zimbabwe is ready for the new breed of heroes, trailblazers, innovators, inventors and thought leaders who will impact our nation, the region, African continent and the world. With unity, focus and hard work, we can achieve much more exploits and much more successes. These were President Mnangagwa's words as he presided over the burial of national hero Dr. Sydney Gata at the National Heroes Acre today. That story and more coming up on Newsplus. President Mnangagwa today joined proceedings in the National Assembly on Wednesday during the question and answer session. We shall of course be giving you highlights from the Q&A questions where Finance Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube gave a detailed breakdown of the construction cost for the Trabablis interchange. Retailers in Zimbabwe are looking at the second half of the year with optimism, hoping to shrug off some of the challenges which bogged down their operations in the past. And in sport, top-seeded tennis player Sasha Chimedza saw off compatriot Tadiwanashe Mauchi 6-1, 6-6-2 to book a date in the finals of the African Union Sports Council Region 5 games against South Africa's Chase Shills. That story and more in our look at sport. And now we take a closer look at the stories making the headlines this evening. Zimbabwe is ready for a new breed of heroes who have shown patriotism and dedication to Zimbabwe's post-independence development discourse. This was said by President Emmerson Mnangagwa at the late ZESA Executive Chairman Dr. Sydney Gata's burial at the National Heroes Acre in Harare today. The president said the late engineer deserved the recognition. Now Mirira Nsingo gives us more in the following report.
Engineer Sydney Gata is waved goodbye, and the president says his dedication towards the country's energy sector deserved the befitting honor.
Zimbabwe is ready for the new breed of heroes, trailblazers, innovators, inventors, and thought leaders who will impact our nation, the region, the African continent, and the world beyond. With unity, focus, and hard work, we can achieve much more exploits and much more successes.
The late Dr. Sydney Gata was born on 17 December 1946 in Chipinge District, Manicaland Province. His province of birth was one of the many areas in the country that was subjected to the brutality and oppressive racist white colonial administration. The president noted dedicated patriots like Dr. Gata deserved a place at the national shrine.
Today, we gather at this sacred place where we lay to rest the luminaries of our great motherland, Zimbabwe, who consistently and persistently fought and sacrificed their lives for the independence, for the freedom and democracy we are enjoying today. Men who lie here fought in our protracted armed liberation struggle against the brutal colonial regime of Ian Smith. Over the years, a new breed of heroes continues to be honored, who have distinguished themselves in various areas of society, including in post-independence cooperation, in diplomacy, as well as in commerce and industry.
Dr. Gata is survived by his wife and 9 children. The family says he was a pillar that will be greatly missed.
My father was a larger-than-life character, to the extent that it would be very hard for us to imagine a life without him. To us, he was our root, our strength, a very proud son of Chipinge. The full line from which that quote comes goes, "Stay hard, Stay hungry, stay alive, and when you do, meet me in the dreams of this hard land.
What remains now will just be memories. These many chapters of the life of an energy giant and a patriotic servant have been concluded. A guru in engineering and energy devoted his life to saving the country's energy sector. He has run a good race and fought a good fight. For ZTN Prime, I am Mirira Insingo.
We now take a closer look at the late national hero, Dr. Gata's life, achievements and contributions to Zimbabwe.
ZESA Holding staff and energy stakeholders are mourning the loss of a man many described as the heartbeat of the country's power sector. But who was he and what made him the beacon everyone has said he was? Born in 1948 in Marondera, Mashonaland East Province, Dr. Gata grew up in Chipinge in the Mutema communal area under Chief Mutema. His legacy stretched over 4 decades, during which he shaped, modernized, and defended the country's power systems.
Ndingati Gata vanga vari munhu ari visionary. Vaiona zvinodiwa panyaya dzemagetsi zvazvino nezvekumberi uye anga ari munhu anodzidzisa.
Those who worked with him say he left them a set of goals for the future of the energy sector.
He will make his vision very clear so that kana maakuita follow muchita execute munenge muri muchinzwisisa zvamuri kuita.
Dr. Gata was appointed General Manager of the Electricity Supply Commission in 1981, becoming the first black person to lead Zimbabwe's power utility. That role evolved into decades of leadership within ZESA, including 2 terms as executive chairman between 2001 to 2006 and 2019 to 2025. Under his guidance, Mbare and Kariba power stations were expanded and rehabilitated. Zimbabwe's 330 kV national grid was extended, power interconnectors with regional utilities were strengthened, and rural electrification was prioritized. Dr. Gata was not just a bureaucrat, he was a trained engineer, lecturer, and policy expert. He studied in Canada, lectured in the UK, and returned to Zimbabwe to serve. Over the years, he advised global energy institutions like the World Energy Council and the African Development Bank. Dr. Gata survived with his wife, Angeline Mayale Gata, children and grandchildren. His co-workers say the best way to honor his memory would be to ensure all he set out to do is fulfilled.
Zvose zvakasiya zvatemwa navagata dei zvikaenderera mberi zviregere kuperera nhasi patavaradzika pano pamagamba.
Dr. Sidney Gata's name now rests in the annals of Zimbabwe's most decorated public servants. He joins a group of non-ex-combatants who were declared national heroes like Oliver Mtukudzi and the late Chief Secretary Dr. Charles Utete. He will forever be remembered in the lives of those he touched, engineers, line workers, policy minds and rural families whose lives were changed by the infrastructure he envisioned.
We take a quick glance at Dr. Gata's career path. And in other news, President Mnangagwa earlier today joined proceedings in the National Assembly during the question and answer session. The visit underscores the interconnectedness of the arms of government and highlights the President's role in the legislative affairs beyond the traditional ceremonial functions. While the President did not contribute to the debate, his observance of the parliamentary process is being viewed as a reaffirmation of constitutional governance and transparency. The question and answer session provides members of Parliament with the opportunity to hold ministers to account, pose questions on public policy, and raise concerns from constituencies. Now, commenting on the visit, Speaker of the National Assembly, Advocate Jacob Mudenda, said the President is an integral part of Zimbabwe's legislature.
Members of the House, in terms of our Constitution, His Excellency the President is part of the legislature. So he has every right to come in and sit and follow proceedings accordingly. And he has done that today. There was also another reason why His Excellency was around and was looking at certain aspects of our Parliament building vis-a-vis future developments. So we decided to come in and we welcomed him and we welcome him.
Now, during the question and answer session, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Professor Mthuli Ncube, fielded questions from lawmakers. One of the questions was on the total cost of the Trabablis Interchange project. The Minister gave a detailed breakdown of the total cost of the project, which replaces the old congested Mbudzi roundabout to improve traffic flow on the Harare-Masvingo Bay Bridge Highway.
So we spent 65 million on things such as, for instance, contractors' establishment on site, accommodation of traffic, the drains, and I'm just picking up a few things: pitching stonework protection against erosion, stabilization, prime court, road signs, foundation structures. So the hard infrastructure engineering part, that was 65.5 million. Then we had to add some bridges which are needed, which, things like Bridge 1, Bridge 2, up to Bridge 12. That was another 16 million, for example. Then there was supervisor engineering fees, electrical works. Supervisor fees alone, 2.4 million. Electrical works, 4.4 million, for example. If you just add those, then we are coming to the 88.3 million. You can see that here we have not included the relocation costs that I was referring to. So this 26 million went towards those relocation costs, relocating households who were on the way, and we did that successfully, and we thank them for agreeing to move. That's what happens with projects. You have these unforeseen costs, and we have to make provisions for it, and I'm pleased that we're able to cover them, and I think the honorable members are pleased with the product. I hope they've been able to drive on it as well and really experience it. It's a wonderful product, and I think that they should be pleased that we completed the project successfully.
Now, when Newsplus returns, we'll give you an update on the renovations at Parliamentary Hospital.
The Ministry of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage wishes to extend its deepest condolences to His Excellency the President, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa and the Gata family over the untimely death of former engineer and first black general manager of the Zimbabwe Electricity Company, Engineer Dr. Sidney Zikuzo Gata. The former executive chairman of ZESA Holdings distinguished himself as a very committed Zimbabwean who dedicated his entire life to infrastructural development and providing energy solutions to the nation. His patriotism, allegiance, loyalty, and dedication to national duty was beyond measure. Dr. Gata's selfless contribution to the development of the energy sector and service to the nation will forever be etched in our collective memory as a country. As a ministry, we mourn the sad loss of this great engineer and educationist whose legacy will continue to inspire future generations to cherish and work for the development of our great nation. His visionary leadership and dedication to excellence inspired many and will be remembered for generations to come. Our thoughts and prayers are with Dr. Gata's family during this difficult time. May they find comfort in the knowledge that his contribution to the development of this great nation will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, Dr. Sidney Zikuzo Gata. Lala ngokuthula khawele sizwe. Zororai Murugare Gamba Renyika.
Asilwela ukunqoba kuphela. Kepha silwela ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze. Sekunjalo.
This is Newsplus. Thank you very much for staying with us. We now move on to some health matters. The Minister of Health and Childcare, Dr. Douglas Mombeshora, today cleared out a site visit at the Parliamentary group of hospitals to assess progress of the ongoing renovations. These renovations came after President Mnangagwa's call for a facelift of the country's health system. Currently, the renovations are ongoing at Adlam House, a facility for student nurses, and Mbare Maternity Home. Our correspondent Mashudu Mambo joined the minister during the tour.
The renovations are a direct response to President Mnangagwa's call to action. The president recently made a surprise visit to the country's major health facilities, including Parliamentary, where he expressed dissatisfaction with the state of affairs, calling for a revamp of the health system. And today's visit by Health Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshora was meant to assess progress.
Damage to the infrastructure, from the roof, the ceilings, to the floors, to the sewer rectification system, to the water system. So the contractor started with the first block, with the two blocks here. They started with the first block, they did the roof, they done the ceilings.
The minister also announced that plans to renovate Mbare Maternity Home are now in motion to ensure that they create a conducive environment for expecting mothers.
And here where we are is Mbare Maternity Hospital. Also, there was a lot of work needed to be done, but it still needed to be done because nothing much is taking place. So you can see they are already putting in the preparations.
Apart from the renovations, Dr. Mombeshora said that acquiring new equipment for the wards is a top priority.
We hope we will be able to come up with a new look hospital, modern, comparable with any other hospital in the world. And we are also looking at bringing in new equipment.
A principal tutor at the nursing school expressed the excitement over the renovations, saying that they will go a long way in creating a conducive environment for the students.
So over the years we've been using it as a classroom until the ceiling during a lecture, and then we stopped using it. Saka now what I got is still going to be used as a classroom. This becomes one of our biggest classrooms. It can accommodate up to 8.
The renovations at Parliamentary group of hospitals marks a new chapter for Zimbabwe's healthcare system. With government's commitment to modernization, patients and healthcare workers can look forward to a brighter future. For ZTM Prime, I am Mashudu Mambo in Harare.
And still on our top stories, Zimbabwe's formal retailers are cautiously optimistic as the second half of 2025 kicks off. After grappling with exchange rate volatility, declining consumer spending, and stiff competition from informal markets, relief may finally be in sight. Our correspondent from the business department, Melissa Tadikobo, gives us all the details.
For March of 2024 and early 2025, formal retailers were on the back foot. The time frame was characterized by shop closures and debt overhang. But after months of lobbying, Retailers say government is finally listening.
The whole government approach is actually assisted us because currently all ministries assist with streamlining the regulatory and the compliance costs. We've already submitted a list of regulatory and compliance areas which we are currently working very closely with our line ministry, Ministry of Industry and Commerce, as well as other relevant ministries.
The Confederation of Zimbabwe Retailers are optimistic of a better second half of 2025 and noting recovery for some retailers.
We focused so much primarily on resuscitation of the struggling brands, so that they could come back to their feet, up and running, and we have seen tremendous progress with some of them, and of course we work very closely with the government.
Analyst Omali Jani says leveling the playing field for the formal and informal sector is a major change.
Before the removal of SI 801A, retailers were forced to use the official exchange rate, which was far below the parallel market rate most of the time. But the government have listened to them, which is a very good thing and also good for the retail sector in the country. So going forward, the retailers can now set their own exchange rate using their willing buyer, willing seller system.
While government has dealt with some of retailers' concerns, challenges still remain. Market watchers say there is room for improvement.
I think USD revenues will improve slightly, but I think not much. I think what we're seeing in the first half is what we'll see in the second half of the year. And I think the winners in the sector are those that will leverage off their internal resources.
While some say it will be more of survival than growth for the year 2025.
And now our business correspondent Eben Mabunda joins us live for further analysis. Eben, good evening. Eben, given the removal of the 5% cap on the interbank rate, how do you see this influencing pricing strategies and margins for formal retailers in the next 6 months?
Well, good evening. The removal of that 5% cap is an indication of course, the authorities seeking to drive toward market liberalization, and there are indications that from this point, circumstances can only turn out for the better in as far as what the central bank has indicated. Now, the removal of that particular cap would allow market determined forces to be at play within the market. It allows, of course, the retailers to be pricing according to, of course, the cost factors that get into the products that they avail onto, of course, the shelves, and allow them to keep in touch with the movement of the exchange rate on both the formal as well as on the informal market. Of course, just to take you down memory lane, the situation of there being a wide gap between the formal as well as the informal market had created an opportunity for arbitrage, of course, opportunities as well as speculative tendencies within the market, which saw the formal market suffering while the informal market continued to thrive under those set of conditions.
So, Eben, to what extent will the measures aimed at leveling the playing field with the informal sector realistically boost foot traffic and revenue for formal stores in the short to medium term?
Well, of course, the removal of the cap as well as some of the reforms that have come in would be important at making it easier and trying to bring some degree of equilibrium between the formal as well as the informal. However, the informal market continues to thrive given the fact that there are certain licenses which they are not adhering to that, of course, are in the market that formal retailers have to adhere to. So these are some of the issues that need to be attended to. I'll give some illustrations of just how just outside some of the retail outlets you'll find informal traders selling the very products that are being sold by OK or TM Pick and Pay. And so this again remains a sticking issue which the authorities need to look at by means of seeking to regularize the operations of the informal traders, perhaps by means of streamlining and ensuring that there are perhaps uniform licenses that can be paid at once by informal traders, rather than having a situation where informal traders have to pay the council and they have to pay Zimra and pay another, and so that makes it cumbersome and perhaps serve as a disincentive for informal traders to actually regularize their operations.
And now, even with macroeconomic stability still fragile, what key risks should retailers and investors watch out for that could derail this cautious optimism heading into the last quarter of 2025?
There are positive indications, for example, just how when you look at the gap between the formal market as well as the informal has been kept at about 20%, which looks healthy from this particular point. You look at the gold tonnage within the reserves of course, the central bank have increased significantly to nearly 3 tons. And also you look at the aggregate in terms of Zimbabwe's foreign currency reserves, which are now sitting at about 700 million United States dollars from about $300 million in April of 2024. These are positive indicators. However, it's important to note that it would be necessary for the stability that we have seen on the domestic currency to be maintained as we move on to the greater part of the second half of 2025. At the same time, there are also issues to do with the payments to contractors. A good number of economists have raised an amber flag to what the payments to contractors would translate to where the domestic currency is concerned. Of course, what we do know is that there has been an indication of payment by means of treasury bills, which are being discounted by contractors at a rate of over 30, perhaps to 50% as they seek to cash in on those particular TBs. But it remains to be seen how sustainable that model will be and whether we will see increased payments in cash to contractors in the domestic currency, which could result in a destabilization where the value of the domestic currency is concerned in both the formal as well as on the informal market.
Thank you very much, Eben, for sharing your insights on formal retailers. We now give you an update on a story that's facing a bit of contention. Mbare residents are not happy with the Harare City Council after it launched a High Court appeal to reverse a judgment compelling it to rehabilitate flats in Mbare. These flats are dilapidated and overcrowded. Talent Gore gives us more details.
For decades, Mbare flats have stood as a symbol of urban neglect. Broken sewer, erratic water supply, and crumbling infrastructure define the life of thousands of residents. Earlier this year, hope came in the form of a High Court ruling, a landmark judgment compelling the city of Harare to rehabilitate the flats and provide basic water, sanitation, and hygiene services. But in a shocking twist, the city of Harare has now filed an appeal seeking to overturn the judgment instead of compiling with it, a move that has angered many. Advocates fear the legal U-turn would deepen the humanitarian crisis in Mbare, where overcrowding and poor sanitation have already raised serious public health concerns.
Security evana chacho andinona mafenzi dai akabva tinogadzisa tega matoilet atona na toilet tinoshanda kana one tinocleana tega kanzura ndakana service inoti vapedza vanenge vachida mari yakawanda.
As the legal battle continues, the residents of Mbare are left in limbo, stuck between broken promises and broken infrastructure. Harare Mayor Jacob Mafume says the city is not ignoring residents' concern, but is appealing the ruling due to what he calls legal and practical constraints.
Well, there is an application for rescission since the judgment was obtained by default. I'm made to understand. But the intention is for us to agree with the litigants because the renovation of the Mbare flats is long overdue.
Mayor Mafume insists the city has a long-term vision, but one that requires time, planning, and crucially funding.
Every time we want to improve the flats, people, they think we want to evict them. We have no intentions to evict anyone. We want to improve the flats so that they can live in a place that is safe, habitable, and also not a danger to their safety and health.
We have seen the current living conditions of the people living in Mbare flats. The question now is whether the appeal by the city of Harare will succeed and what that would mean for thousands of vulnerable families already living on the edge. For the people of Mbare, the wait for justice and dignity continues. For ZTN Prime, I am Talent Gore in Mbare.
Now still to come on Newsplus, Zimbabwe Youth Council advocates for accountability.
Win big in the EcoCash Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion with over 200,000 winners. Earn at least 20 points when you cash in, send money, buy airtime or data, make payments, receive money from the diaspora, or receive your salary via EcoCash. And you could be in the running to win an all-expenses-paid trip to watch an AFCON match in Morocco, a holiday for two in Dubai, solar kits, cows, fridges, gas stoves, motorbikes, cash, airtime, and so much more. It's simple. Simply transact, earn points, and win in the Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion. Dial *151# or use the EcoCash app now. EcoCash. Live life the EcoCash way.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus this Wednesday evening. Now, the Zimbabwe Youth Council has vowed to strengthen youth governance nationwide, calling all youth associations to update their operational status and align with standards of accountability, transparency, and good governance. Addressing the media in Harare today, the Zimbabwe Youth Council's newly appointed board chairperson, Rutendo Mugwagwa, said the move will enable the council to support youth growth, connect them to national opportunities, and advocate more effectively on their behalf.
This process is not a mere formality. It will serve as a powerful tool that will enable the Zimbabwe Youth Council to better support youth growth, connect youth to national opportunities, and to advocate more effectively on their behalf with development partners, ministries, and the private sector. By upholding these standards as youth, we affirm our collective commitment to youth development and position ourselves as reliable partners in Zimbabwe's transformation.
And now moving on to some law enforcement matters. Police in Bakeries have arrested a suspected cattle rustler and recovered a stolen herd of 18 cattle worth $9,000 after a swift response to a stock theft report. Police tracked the stolen animals for 5 kilometers before apprehending one of the suspects. Mashonaland East Police spokesperson Inspector Simon Chazovachi commended the public for their vigilance and urged farmers to closely monitor their livestock and brand their animals for easy identification. The authorities emphasized the importance of prompt reporting of stock theft cases for early detection and successful recoveries.
We encourage farmers to look after their cattle at the grazing lanes. This made them realize that their cattle had been stolen early. Also, the issue of early reporting. The farmer quickly reported to Bakeries police station, who quickly reacted and followed the spoor, leading to the recovery of the cattle and arrest of one suspected cattle rustler. We also want to applaud the farmer for branding. His cattle were well branded, and when they were recovered, they could easily be returned to the owner.
And in a significant bust, South African police in Limpopo have arrested a 40-year-old migrant suspected of smuggling contraband cigarettes from Zimbabwe. The suspect, a foreign national, was caught during a search operation at a tuck shop in Nguzana village, Hlanganani, where boxes of illicit cigarettes valued at 13,700 rand were confiscated. The suspect is believed to be part of a larger tobacco products dealing racket operating between South Africa and Zimbabwe. Now, the arrest is part of an ongoing crackdown on cigarette smuggling between the two countries, which is estimated to account for a significant loss of revenue in collection.
On Sunday, 6th July 2025, during the day, members of Mobanita's team were busy executing their duties when they pounced on a foreign national shopkeeper in Nguzana village, Hlanganani, who was suspected of selling illegal cigarettes. The members conducted a search to the premises. During the search, boxes of illicit cigarettes were confiscated to the street value of 13,700 rand. The suspect was immediately placed under arrest for possession of illegal cigarettes.
We now take a look at other updates from the world around us. Lesotho has declared a national state of disaster over the country's high rate of youth unemployment and job losses, as uncertainty over U.S. tariffs hits the landlocked nation. Lesotho was hit by higher tariffs than any other country, 50%, when they were announced by President Donald Trump in April, although they have since been paused. Now, Deputy Prime Minister Ntomeng Majara said the state of affairs, the state of disaster, will be in force until 30 June 2027. Unemployment in Lesotho stands at 30%, but for young people, the rate is almost 50%, according to official figures. Now, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa reiterated his call for African representation on the United Nations Security Council during a BRICS summit in Brazil, while defending the bloc's importance in global governance. Ramaphosa also stated that the global South nations, who have very little responsibility for the climate damage, should be assisted and supported. The 17th BRICS summit was held under the theme Strengthening Global South Cooperation for More Inclusive and Sustainable Governance. And moving on, a DNA bone test on a man who lived over 4,500 years ago in a Nile valley has shed new light on the ancient Egyptian civilization. Test results revealed the man was probably a potter from the south of Egypt who died at about the age of 60. Analysis also showed 20% of his DNA was from the village of Nueret in Mesopotamia, which is 1,500 kilometers away in Iraq or Syria, raising more questions than answers. It is the first biological evidence that could help explain how Egypt was transformed from a disparate collection of farming communities to one of the mightiest civilizations on Earth.
There was the whitewashing of the Egyptians, that they were ancient Egyptians. They came from Europe. and there was the blackwashing that they came from the sub-Saharan African. And these all are not true and proved by science that not to be true, especially here the DNA that showed that from this Nuwairat man, 80% was related actually from Egypt.
Now, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov proposed coordinating BRICS actions on reforming the World Health Organization to return it to its core mission protecting public health, speaking at the high-level meeting of the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro on Monday. He also noted positive development in the medical field within the association. The 17th BRICS Summit, Strengthening Global South Cooperation for More Inclusive and Sustainable Governance, took place in Rio de Janeiro on July 6 to 7. It unites leaders and representatives from member states, partner nations, and key organizations. The BRICS group, originally Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, expanded in 2023, with Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE all invited to join, and then Indonesia as the newest member. Now, partner nation status was introduced at the 2024 summit in Kazan.
Мы приветствуем наметившуюся тенденцию к более прагматичным методам осуществления энергоперехода с учетом специфики всего спектра национальных позиций. В этой работе не должно быть дискриминации каких-либо источников энергии, технологий в ущерб интересам социально-экономического развития. Ясно также, что различного рода односторонние санкции крайне негативно сказываются на усилиях по реализации Парижского соглашения. В рамках утвержденной президентом Путиным в 2020 году национальной цели сокращения выбросов парниковых газов в нашей стране реализуется программа по снижению эмиссий, внедрению новых технологий, энергосбережению, повышению энергоэффективности. Климатическая доктрина России предусматривает достижение углеродной нейтральности к 2060 году. Поддерживаем итоги прошлогодней 29-й.
Grain millers, ZMX unite to reduce post-harvest losses. That story right ahead.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic.
Get ready for more on Supersport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
It's time for us now to take a look at what's happening in the world of business. Grain millers of Zimbabwe and the Zimbabwe Mercantile Exchange are moving to streamline the procurement process for key staples such as maize, wheat, and other grains. Francisca Msheche has more in the following report.
In a landmark development for Zimbabwe's agricultural economy, ZMX and GMAS have joined forces to streamline commodity trading and enhance food security. ZMX chairperson Derek Odot outlined that this partnership will deepen linkages between producers and millers.
Through this partnership, GMAS affiliated millers will be able to directly procure commodities via the ZMX platform, creating visibility, predictability, and assurance for both buyers and sellers.
The collaboration allows GMAS affiliated millers to procure maize, wheat, and other grains directly through the ZMX platform, enhancing transparency, reducing post-harvest losses, and shortening payment cycles.
This is more than just a trading partnership. It is a step towards establishing a robust, integrated, and traceable grain supply system that reduces post-harvest losses, shortens payment cycles, and promotes quality assurance across the board.
Between September 2023 and June 2025, GMA's members successfully imported 1.34 million tons of maize from South Africa and the Americas, ensuring national food supplies remained stable during this critical period. GMA's chairman, Tafadza Musarara, noted that this collaboration will speed up business for farmers in the country.
At its core, this collaboration enables grain intake through forward contracts, helping secure demand while unlocking financing for producers. It is designed to create a reliable market-based system that works for both buyers and the sellers.
With the next farming season on the horizon, stakeholders are optimistic that this alliance will help unlock efficiency and drive lasting resilience across the sector. For ZTN Prime, I am Francisca Msheche in Harare.
Now, the National Bakers Association of Zimbabwe is pushing for immediate measures to keep bread prices in check and ensure Zimbabwe stays competitive in the region. Speaking before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Industry and Commerce, the association warned that power cuts, limited access to affordable capital, and capacity utilization stuck at 75% are putting pressure on production.
Especially as we look at after. The issue for us is we have national coverage in terms of supply of bread, and we also sell quite a bit of bread and other confectionaries into border cities and towns. And if it so happens that the implementation, it goes full scale of after, which we as industry we always look forward to. We are seeing a possibility of prices of our ingredients becoming a factor in as far as we are able to compete with our bordering countries, because they will look at our border cities immediately as potential markets.
Now, Zimbabwe needs about 2 million loaves of bread every day, but current output is only 1.5 million, raising concerns that the supply gap could drive up prices. The association appealed for targeted government and stakeholder support to unlock capital, stabilize energy supply, and help keep bread on Zimbabwean tables at prices that consumers can actually afford.
Provide a brief background. As an industry, currently we are producing about 1.5 million loaves per day nationwide. We've got an installed capacity of 2 million loaves a day. We are obviously not able to utilize to reach the 100% capacity because of other challenges, obviously, that are not related to sugar. Sometimes we have breakdowns, sometimes we have some stoppages in the plant. Sometimes you've got this elephant in the room, this sort of issue where our players, industry players, are then forced to bake at night. Which means during the day there is no production. So that's mainly the reason why we can't reach the 100% capacity.
Now, Egypt's Minister of Agriculture, Ala Farouk, stressed the importance of cooperation in the agricultural sector with other BRICS countries. Egypt is one of the several countries to join the BRICS group last year.
الأمن الغذائي النهارده بقى هدف لأغلب شعوب العالم بعد التغيرات الجيوسياسية الموجودة حاليا. مجموعة البريكس بتمثل حوالي 59% من سكان العالم، لديها أرض زراعية حوالي 33% من إجمالي المساحات المنزرعة، 39% من الموارد المائية العذبة. المزرعة بتتراوح ما بين 4.8 فدان، تنتج أكثر من 1.240 مليار طن من الحبوب سنويا، 44% من الإنتاج العالمي. الحقيقة ان احنا وقعنا مجموعة من مذكرات تفاهم على مدار العامين الماضيين. احدى مذكرات التفاهم كانت بخصوص الحجر الزراعي، وبالتالي احنا بالفعل ابتدينا نصدر المانجا لدولة الصين وبعض دول مجموعة البريكس.
Now that wraps up our business updates this hour, but still to come in sport, ZPC Kariba's set-piece magic lifts hopes in stable season.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
We've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the picture?
ZPC Kariba's resurgence in the 2025 season has been built on a firm defensive foundation, aided by renewed confidence in front of goal. The side has been consistently finding goals this season, with set play proving to be a game changer to a side that is slowly shedding its image as relegation candidates. More in the following report.
ZPC Kariba would have to wind the clock back to 2014 for their most prolific PSL season, when a legendary campaign under Sol Chaminuka fell just a point short of the league title. Last season, they had the best defense in the league with 20 clean sheets and only 18 goals conceded in 34 games, but a lack of firepower left them struggling. Their 17 goals scored was the lowest tally of all the teams in the league as they narrowly avoided relegation. This season, Newton Chitewe's men have struck a better balance. They are currently on a 4-match unbeaten run and have lost just 3 of their games in the season so far. A 4-0 loss to FC Platinum remains their worst result, but even that was a blip in an otherwise resilient campaign that includes a 9-match unbeaten run. Creative set plays have been at the heart of their attack, contributing significantly to their tally of 15 goals.
We always practice the set pieces because it's a half goal when you are maybe 20 meters away or 25 meters away from a goal area in that area. So we have to work on that a lot.
Midfielder Fanuel Shoko has been the man in form, leading ZPC scoring charts with 5 goals and 3 of them from dead ball situations. He was on target again with a crucial equalizer against Simba Bora this past weekend.
I can say I was born with it, especially the technique is there. So I found that a juicer, the box, my teammates, they know it's coming up, and then later get another tarisa. I think I'm going there. We practice so much on Friday after session. With way we try the runners to make sure we perfect so that it come out good.
Nyamunga Stadium remains a tough place for visitors, but ZPC Kariba are looking to pick up form on the road in a shift from their historical home reliance.
I think we thrive like to say let's make this Nyamunga our fortress. Then the boys are working. We thank God for it. I can say foremost the players, they are so much accommodated. And then we thrive by all means to be united. So this is our strength. United is strength.
5 wins and 11 draws from 19 matches have brought a wave of optimism. It is a notable upturn for a side that has been used to scrapping for survival in recent seasons.
We are taking each game as it comes, but we are aiming also to finish on a better position this season. So I think we will fight a lot so that we maybe end up in top 4 or maybe top 6.
ZPC Kariba might not be in the title race, but their structured defense and clever free kick routines have become a highlight in themselves. Up next, they host Manika Diamonds at Nyamunga, hoping to keep the positive momentum going.
Now, Highlanders continue their hunt for a new coach to take over the reins from interim coach Trai Mbare. The side is reported to be after the services of Lizwe Shweswe as well as Bulawayo Chiefs head coach Thulani Sibanda, as they look to usher in a new era at the club. Meanwhile, the side is set to unveil former FC Platinum administrator Denzel Mkandla as their new CEO, who takes over from interim administrator Kindman Ndlovu, who had replaced Brian Moyo, who stepped down 4 months ago. And still on sport, top-seeded tennis player Sasha Chimedza saw off compatriot Tadiwanashe Mauchi 6-1, 6-2 to book a date in the finals of the African Union Sports Council Region 5 games against South Africa's Jess Shills. Chimedza is delighted to have reached the final and gave credit to Mauchi, who gave a good account of herself.
Honestly, it was a good match. I was expecting a very tough match because I've played her before and we grew up playing each other since we were like kids, so I knew it was going to be a very intense match. So I was just having fun and playing my best and just hoping for the best result, but at the end of the day, compete well, and that's what we came here for. So I think that I did that really good today. It feels good. I mean, I obviously wanted to get there, but it's not over yet, so I just have to prepare for the next match and just be grateful that I came this far, and I'm happy with the way I played. Very intense. The conditions is like, it was very hard because it was cold, and then getting warm was hard, but I feel like mentally it was really a challenge, and I'm just thankful that I got through the processes and the matches well. But everyone is doing a really good job at being competitive. Like, the level is high, and I'm really excited to be here.
Now, Mauchi believes she gave her best performance as she played with a back pain and is delighted to have gone up against one of the best players.
I feel like overall it was a pretty good match. I feel like she just played really well today. It's unfortunate I've been struggling with my back for the past couple days, for the whole competition really. So against one of the top players, the top seed here, you can't afford to not be 100%, and it's unfortunate I couldn't move as well as I would have liked to today, but I gave it everything I had today despite being in pain. Nevertheless, she played really well. She played a solid match, so I feel like it was a great match. I'm happy for her, hoping she can go all the way through and win her finals. But I'm happy with my performance today. I gave it everything I had. Like I said, nothing more I could ask for. I feel like the competition this year is really good. It's really tough compared to the last games that we played. The competition has been really amazing. Some solid matches to play, solid matches to have under my belt to continue to improve as a player and continue to reach my goals. So I feel like the competition is great, and the games are great for me and great for what I'm trying to achieve.
Now, private colleges have teamed up to combat substance abuse by leveraging sports as a tool for promoting healthy lifestyles and providing alternatives to drug use among students. The call against drug abuse by the youth was echoed at the recent Independent Colleges Association of Zimbabwe sports tournament in Kadoma, which attracted schools from 6 provinces.
Because we realize as colleges that not only those who are academic excellent will make it in life. Some, students like those who are good in sports also excel in life. So apart from the sports, we have also invited different people such as the police to come and conscientize our children.
Now, students welcomed this initiative, highlighting the importance of sport in their development.
These tournaments are memories for us in our lives. This also can help us with our health, and this also can be our career path for some of us who wants to play football in the later future.
Tawana umkana wekusangana nemapurisa vachitidzidzisa nzira dzekusapara mhosva uye vachiti kana tika abuse watinoreporta vachitiudza nekwese kwatinoreporta.
Now, Brazil manager Carlo Ancelotti has been sentenced to a year in prison by a Spanish court for tax evasion, but he will not have to serve time in jail. The former Chelsea and Everton boss was accused of failing to pay €1 million in tax on his salary during his first spell in charge of Real Madrid from 2013 to 2015. He will avoid prison but does have to pay a fine of $386,361.93 Ancelotti, 66 years of age, ended a second spell with Real at the end of last season and took the Brazil job. Under Spanish law, any sentence under 2 years for a non-violent crime rarely requires a defendant without previous convictions to serve jail time. Now that story wraps up our news bulletin this evening. Thank you very much for watching. Good night. I'm Modernization.